Welcome in second session of today's lecture. The another aspect which I'm going to discuss relating to this matter of public interest litigation, especially with reference to India. It is a famous aspect with the reference of the practical and with reference of the examination and with reference to the that syllabus as prescribed in various courses including the LLM. Now the before entering this public interest litigation, there are some issues which very quickly I will discuss about these issues, and these issues are related to the number one, concept of locus standi. The first point is concept of locus standi. The second point is the object of PIL, why it has emerged, when it has emerged, what was the reason why the judiciary expanded the locus standi concept for the interest of the public. Here was the world when we have seen the independence of the judiciary, interest of the justice. Here we will discuss the interest of the general public and in the welfare of the general public that has developed by the judiciary, and what are the norms of the public interest litigation and how these norms can be applied, and development of the public interest litigation in India and abuse of public interest litigation. Many times the question is being asked, or there is a the hope that, or there is the chances to ask the question, the public interest litigation is not the pill of all the ill. ये सभी बीमारियों का इलाज नहीं है. It is not the pill of all the ill. It means the abuse of public interest litigation is also there, and conditions for the public interest litigation. What are the conditions when it can be applied, and what are the norms, and when it can be said that it is the abuse of the public interest litigation, and the future of the public interest litigation. This is again, here is a question of the future of the public interest litigation, because this is the child originated by the judiciary, and there is no separate law for this reference, and a task has been given to some research institutions that develop a model for filing the public interest litigation. Sometimes the court has laid down certain norm. Therefore, the fixed system of the principles of filing the FIL, the PIL, and accepting it, there is no fixed system is there, norm is there. Therefore, what will be the future? This is one of the facet and component which requires to be discussed, and the PIL is boon and welfare. Whether it is a boon or it is a bane, there is some type of questions are there. Then what's the suggestion about the PIL, and the conclusion in this regard now come into the point of the concept of locus standi. Who can file the suit? If you will see the CRPC and the CPC, CRPC is a criminal law, it is a procedure law, of course, and the person can inform if that there is a cognizable case, means the cognizance can be taken by the that directly by the police. The information can be given by anyone, but some provisions related to the civil law and related to the other aspect of law, the power is only given to the the persons who is aggrieved of the act of another person, who is the aggrieved person. Therefore, this is called the locus standi. Only the locus, the right is that person who is aggrieved by action of the state or another person, because PIL is against the state. Normally, it is in the matters or in the course of the enforcement of fundamental rights. Therefore, thus this aspect is against the state, and a PIL cannot be filed for the personal matter. The private law cannot be applied or cannot be used for filing the PIL. We will see. And what is the private law? What is the public law? For that purpose, means the direction always by the court shall be given under the extraordinary power or prerogative as it has exercised in the Great Britain by issuing any writ. Writ jurisdiction is there. 139 says that the parliament shall make the law. 32 you have seen that there is no need to make the law because the prerogative power was given to the Supreme Court in case of the violation of fundamental rights, and the same power is given to the High Court 226. But 139 says that the extra powers should be given to the Supreme Court apart from the violation of fundamental rights as it is existing under 226 for the exercising of that power by the High Court. These are the issues which should be in your mind and it should be clear. And the application of res judicata also. Res judicata is a subject matter of CPC. If you will see that the section 11 and res sub judicia section 10, if any case is pending before the court, these are the questions very essential for asking or for essential for the competitive examination. But I am not entering into that part, but the PIL involves all these questions also. These questions which are we say that it should be considered at the time of the filing of this writ petition as a PIL. Then locus standi in the first case of 1981 in India. Directly I am entering into the Indian system of American system is also there of the liberalization of justice delivery system. But in India in 1981, there were the two judges who were evolved this aspect. They were the judge basically Y.V. Chandrachud, and second was the Justice Krishna Iyer. They had evolved the new theory of the locus standi, and even if the Krishna Iyer said that there is one maxim under the tort you might be heard and read during the LLB course, ubi jus ubi remedium, where there is the law, there should be the remedy also. If there is a law to approach to the court, and a remedy also should be there, but remedy is not there because they are the poor person and no person is bothered about them. They cannot file the writ petition before the court. Then ultimately who will file? And whose locus standi is there? The locus standi of those persons who are aware about the protection of the rights of the persons who have no resources. That is called the liberal concept of the locus standi. This is the liberal concept of the locus standi as accepted by the court in that Fertilizer Corporation Kamgar Union. It was a association of the laborers, and laborers' grievances were there of the violation of their fundamental rights relating to the livelihood and other aspect which was at the time there, and the Union of India. Thus the Y.V. Chandrachud said that it is a social obligation on the judiciary also. Not only the judicial obligation, not only to deliver the judgment which will come before the court, but it is a social obligation to think over the concept of social justice, why the people are not getting the justice, to reach the justice to their door by way of the persons who are competent and they have the awareness about the protection of rights of other persons. They should be entitled to file any writ petition. That was the 1981 observation of the Supreme Court of the two judges, and the theory evolved at that time relating to this public interest litigation. The name was given the public interest litigation. Some name, others were given the name that the social interest litigation also. And the Professor Upendra Bakshi also expressed the view about the social interest litigation, because the concept which had emerged by the Y.V. Chandrachud, Justice, Honorable Justice, as he was then, that the social obligation is there. That's why its name is social interest litigation also, not only the public interest litigation. It means the masses interest should be involved in that public interest litigation, not the individual. Individual's interest cannot be protected by the public interest litigation. And the second aspect is, what is the object? Why this public interest litigation has emerged or evolved by the judiciary in India? Object was the public interest litigation in Kamgar Association. Justice Krishna Iyer had said that public interest litigation is the process of participation in justice, in justice delivery system, and to get the justice by everyone. If he has no resources to approach to the court, they can write only the single letter, and this single letter shall be accepted by the court. And that has, in Badua Mukti Morcha case, very cases are there, and the Sunil Batra case is there, and it has accepted by the court. The postcard was accepted as a writ petition, because it means that justice is going to the door of those persons who have no resources, who have no awareness, who are not entitled to get this justice delivery system benefit. Therefore, the object is that to participate in the justice and judicial system in India, and to get the real justice. This is called reach justice to the poor person. That is another object. The justice should be reached to the poor person in those areas where they have no facility for getting the justice. Available criteria, what are the norms? When it can be said that this can be filed by some persons relating to the public interest litigation, and where there is the public. Number one, the first criteria, there should be the public for filing this public interest litigation, and if the public shall not be involved in that matter, the public interest litigation cannot be accepted by the court. Public should be involved. Environmental cases are related to the public. The prisoners who are not getting the facility, they are behind the bar and they are under trial, and without any charges they were. Husna Ara Khatun case is there, and they were 80s case is there, and it has accepted by the petition filed by some lawyers. That is the case which is Kapila Hingorani case is also there. So therefore they were the advocate, they are still the advocate, they are working on it, on the welfare of the people. MC Mehta's various cases are there. Protection of environment, and the environment is related to the interest of the public, and injury should be the public, not individual. Individually, if service matter will be there, one cannot say that a service matters case can be filed as a public interest litigation. If a matter is related to the livelihood of the person means a mass, whole community, they are not getting the facilities. Then you have seen that just some days back, the private industrial association case, 3 and 4 days back, filed the PIL, public interest litigation, because the mass was involved in that. Everyone cannot approach to the court, and that is the injury to the public should be there. Public's involvement should be there. Action of the public authority is in contrary to the constitution. Public authority, who is the public authority? As defined under Article 12 of the Constitution. Other authority and legislature and parliament. Apart from legislature, parliament, executive, local body, there is no need to repeat it. And the common laws should be there to the public. Common laws should be there. Only public interest litigation can be accepted by the court in that matter. Then come to the point that development of the public interest litigation. The heading and caption should be there at the time of writing the answer by you people. It has divided into 3 categories, and the Justice Dalbir Bhandari, who is the at present the judge of the court of International Court of Justice, and has divided this public interest litigation into 3 parts. What are the 3 parts? He said that the first part is related to the fundamental right, cases which are related especially of the Article 21, because everything comes under the life and liberty of individual, and if cases are there and that these cases can be accepted under the public interest litigation, because this is the question related to the protection of life and liberty of individual, and that is there. And then he said that there is the protection of the ecology, environment, and the some